What was Elmer's story? How did he end up in a hospital being injected with plutonium?
Elmer was a railroad porter. He and his wife were living in the Bay Area in the mid-1940s. They had gone out. They had left Texas. They had gone out there to start a better life. They had 2 young babies. Elmer fell from a train in Chicago and damaged his leg, and that sort of put him into the medical system. That was the beginning of his participation in this experiment. And his leg did not heal, and he kept going back to the doctor, and somehow he found himself in this clinic at UC San Francisco, University of California Hospital in San Francisco, and they selected him for this radiation experiment. And
But he didn't know that.
No, he absolutely did not know. He was told that he had an osteogenic sarcoma in his knee, and that they were going to have to amputate in order to save him. There's some question about whether he did or didn't have that cancer, and I do not know the answer to that. But 3 days before they amputated that leg, they injected him in the calf intramuscularly with plutonium.
Didn't he describe to his wife how they sort of put a target on his leg and they injected it in the middle of that?
They eventually, with the consent of Mrs. Allen, I was able to get Elmer's medical records from UC San Francisco, and in those medical records, the doctors talked about putting that target on his calf prior to the injection.
Now, he never knew he was a subject in a U.S. government experiment, but he suspected something. Is that right?
Yes. He told a good friend of his in Italy, Texas, that the doctors kept flying in and out of his room practicing to be doctors. And he told his friend, they guinea pig me.
We interviewed Elmer Allen a number of times, and she talked about how growing up her father would say that. And then when she was leaving for college, he said, watch out, don't let the U.S. government guinea pig you. And they always thought, well, Elmer had some kind of, he was sort of quirky, and he had this delusion that the government had experimented on him.
The sad part about it, and the tragic part about Elmer's story is that nobody believed him. He went to his doctor and told him, I think I've been injected with something. His doctor diagnosed him as a paranoid schizophrenic at the same time that he was conversing with the atomic energy scientists in Argonne National Lab to provide them with tissue samples. And
Wait. His doctor said he was a paranoid schizophrenic. At the same time, his doctor was providing Elmer's tissues to the government scientists doing the experiment?
That's correct. That's what the medical records show. So Elmer was not only used in 1947 when he was injected with this radioactive isotope, but he continued to be used as a guinea pig for the rest of his life.
Being sent, for example, to where, Rochester, New York?
The experiment had 2 parts. In the 70s, in the 70s, a second generation of atomic scientists rediscovered this experiment. And so they wanted to dig up all the people who were dead who had been injected with plutonium. And they also wanted to bring whoever survived back into the lab for further studies. And Elmer was one of the people they brought back into the lab for further studies.
Under what pretext, since he didn't know, supposedly, that he was a U.S. government guinea pig?
They told Elmer, and this is all documented in the medical records, that they knew he had had a very serious cancer, and they wanted to know why he had lived so long.
Huh.